Welcome again, students from Grammar 1. This is the summary class for our session about parts of speech. We will be having our first evaluation regarding this topic and morphology this week, by the way. So there are 8 parts of speech. You would notice that the parts that you see in the video, articles are not mentioned. Why? Because some grammarians consider articles to not be exactly a part of speech. Yes, they are important indeed. And you will see a special part regarding the rules of the articles at the end of this video. Another thing that you will see is that I included the pronouns inside the nouns classification. So I would really recommend you to please pause the video as you see the information so that you can take notes. I will just keep on recording to not make this video longer than needed. So the basic definition for a noun is it names a person, a place, things, or ideas. Now, talking in universitarian language, here we have the classification for nouns. We have common, proper, concrete, abstract, countable, uncountable, and collective. You might remember this classification from the analysis of sentences. And we will be doing analysis of sentences, this subject, of course. Here, you have the classification in this case being more specific regarding pronouns. You see, these ones right here are what we call personal pronouns. But in fact, personal pronouns are all of these: nominative, objective, possessive, reflexive. So this is the real name they receive, okay? Nominative pronouns, objective pronouns, possessive pronouns. Please do not mistake them with the possessive adjectives. Remember that these ones, they always go at the end of a sentence. Reflexive pronouns, relative pronouns, and the interrogative pronouns. In this part, we have more indefinite reference pronouns, okay? When we talk about the universal kind, we have countable and non-countable. And at the same time, we have personal and non-personal. We use the non-personal to talk about things or objects, okay? Or places, when we say everywhere. I have also included the pronoun it right here because, of course, as you know, this is a non-personal pronoun, non-countable, that we use for non-defined things. In singular, of course. We have some other classifications here, including the quantifying pronouns: many, much, few, little, several, and enough. Now, to talk about the adjectives, a basic description describes a noun or a pronoun. For example, short, beautiful, red, old. This is the basic definition. Now, for Grammar 1, this is what we have. We have attributive adjectives. They are used as pre-modifiers. Predicative adjectives. They act as a subject or object complement in the predicate of a sentence. Postpositive. They are following the modified item. For example here, a missing person is someone absent. In this sentence, we have missing is an adjective. In this case, it's an attributive adjective because it's pre-modifying the noun person. And absent is another adjective. In this case, a postpositive adjective is modifying this one right here. Someone absent. Kind of repetitive, but this is a good example. And remember, here we have more examples. I hope you have the chance to pause the video and take notes. Remember that I'll just keep on talking to not make the video longer than needed, okay? these are some of the rules or important aspects that you need to know about the adjectives, okay? Some adjectives can be head of a noun phrase, of course. They can take the form of verbs ending in ing or ed. For example, they were very relieved to see her. It was an alarming view. Just remember, we use the ed on an adjective when you or a person is the one feeling this certain, sentiment, feeling. And we use ing when something else provokes you the reaction. For example, you say, I am bored because the movie is boring. See, you are bored, use ed. You are feeling that. The movie is boring. So it's the movie that provokes that feeling on you. Now, some nouns can work as adjectives with no change. A love poem. The city bus. This is an adjective. This is an adjective. September rain. This is an adjective. It's a similar case for number 4. A criminal lawyer. Here's an adjective saying how this lawyer behaves. And here, the criminal was sent to prison. Here is a person we're talking about. How to make the difference? Of course, there is a noun right after the word. Now, some words may be used as indefinite or demonstrative pronouns and as adjectives. Look at this example. These books are expensive. It's not any books. I mean, these ones. It's an adjective here. But here, these are expensive. This is a pronoun, just a pronoun. Now, when we have 2 or more adjectives before a noun, these are not separated by the conjunction and, except when the last 2 are referring to a color. For example, an intelligent tall boy. You see, no commas here. But here we say a blue and black combination. Here we didn't use commas and we didn't use and. You didn't say an intelligent and tall boy. No, an intelligent tall boy. Here you do use and, the conjunction. Now, when adjectives that refer to quality are used after linking verbs, they connect things, of course. Verbs like sound, is, and taste, and is placed between the last 2 adjectives. The bed was large, comma, comfortable, and clean. Now, when a group of words expressing a characteristic is used to modify a noun, these words always go after the noun. Example here, the book nominated for the award, you see, is really expensive. They always go after the noun they are modifying. When using 2 or more adjectives before a noun, they have to be organized as follows. First, descriptive adjectives. Clean, light, soft. Then, size or age. Small, big, ancient. Finally, color adjectives. Blue, black, pink. For example, a light new yellow box. I will show you a picture with the order. Of course, it's not common to find a sentence with tons of adjectives. And as I was saying during the live meeting, it's kind of difficult to teach how to learn the order because it's something that just happens. You just start using it and it happens. And there comes a time when you look at a sentence and there is an error in the place of the adjectives and you're like, this is wrong. And you don't know why or how you know that's wrong. It just happens. You will see the picture in a minute. Adjectives are words expressing nationality, and this is a grammar rule of English. They are always capitalized. and they are used before the noun. Peter found an old big Italian dresser. And some of them are followed by a verb in infinitive. For example, it is interesting to read. I'm scared to talk here. This is a picture I was talking about. Here you have the order of adjectives. Normally you start with a determiner, some, any, this, the, including a and an, the articles. And this is the order they are supposed to have. Let me see if I can remember the example I used during the live meeting. Let's say that you have good. Then I don't have an adjective about size. I don't have an adjective about shape. I don't have an adjective about condition, but I do have an adjective that talks about age. A good old. Then I don't have an adjective about the color, but I do have an adjective about the origin. So a good old British. And finally, the thing you are describing. A good old British dictionary. You see, since I'm talking about the origin, the adjective must be capitalized. It's just an example. It just happens. Of course, it's no common to find a sentence with a good, for example, let me exaggerate this one. A good, huge, square, dirty, old, black, British, paper, studying dictionary. That's an exaggeration. I mean, it's only in literature you can find sentences like that. But this order is something that just happens. I mean, you can have the picture, take notes, practice, but it's not something common, okay? Adverbs. This is the best way I learned it. The word adverb explains itself. An adverb is a word that describes an adjective, a verb, or another adverb. It's the best way to learn it. Normally, they end in "ly", normally, but not all of them, as you can see here. And you have different types of adverbs, of course. Manner, place, time, frequency, certainty, degree, interrogative, relative. Here you have them. Please take notes. Now, the uses of an adverb as a modifier. It could modify an adjective, as you can see here. It modifies another adverb or a prepositional phrase. This is a prepositional phrase, by the way, through the wall. The nail went right through the wall. This is modifying this. Now, modifying a determiner, pronoun, or numeral. He has hardly any friends. Nearly everybody came to housewarming party. Over 200 deaths were reported of the disaster. Modifying a noun, some of them denote place or time. To post-modify nouns. The journey home, the meeting yesterday, the day before, the sentence below. This is really common, a really common expression for exercises, isn't it? Modifying a noun phrase, you say, okay, the place was in rather a mess. He told such a funny story. Now, as a complement of a preposition. I will talk in deep about this in a minute when I talk about the prepositions, because there are some adverbs that work as prepositions and vice versa. So you'll see what's the difference, how to make the difference between them, and you need to know that for when we start analyzing sentences. in structural grammar, of course. Now, conjunctions, they connect words, phrases, or clauses in a sentence. As you can see here, you have the types of conjunctions: coordinating, correlative, and subordinating. Now, some of my former teachers are gonna hate that I do this, but it's the best way that we have to learn at least the coordinating conjunctions. I'm so sorry, professors, now my colleagues, but this is the best way. And some of you already know this trick. It's nothing new, it's nothing that I created, no, it exists. If you remember the word fanboys, then you know all the coordinating conjunctions, because you have F stands for, I is and, N is nor, B is but, O is or, Y stands for yet, and of course the S stands for so. So this is the best way to learn the coordinating conjunctions, especially because these are the only ones. I know some teachers hate this, but this is the best way to learn them, especially if you need to teach them in your career. So, about the subordinating conjunctions, we have three types. Simple ones, only one word. For example, she was studying when I met her. Now we have the compound subordinating conjunctions. They could be made up of 2 or 3 words. And finally, we have the correlative subordinating conjunctions. They always come in pairs. If then so no sooner, whether you like it or not. The sooner the better. That's another example. Now, prepositions. The best way you can remember or explain prepositions is the following. Look up the word preposition, just like we did with adverbs. So, pre means before, right? Position is the location of something. So preposition is a word that we use before we talk about the position of something. That's one of the ways you can explain prepositions. Of course, you have time prepositions, which are different. They don't have the same usage, but this is a good way to remember this, especially if teaching kids. Now, I did mention a minute ago that prepositions and adverbs sometimes act like each other. So, these are the words that act as prepositions and adverbs. So, what's the difference? Let's use about and on. So, look at this. A word is a preposition when it governs a noun or a pronoun. For example, don't tell me about your excuses. The book lies on a table. You see, about your excuses. Lies on the tables. Now, it is an adverb when it governs a verb. Go and run about. Run about. This one is modifying this verb. Let's move on. Here, this word doesn't mean encima, sobre, no. Here, this word would be like hacia adelante. Let's move on. Let's move on. So that's the difference between prepositions and adverbs. I mean, the words that act like prepositions and adverbs. Take this in mind. Bear this in mind. Interjections, there's not much to say about them since they are not as important as the other parts of speech. They are normally used in, I would say, everyday English, literature, depending on the type of book you're reading. Short exclamation to express emotion. Here you have some of the most common ones. And of course, they keep on appearing because they are somehow related to onomatopoeias. Somehow. I found this here, EnglishStudyHere.com. Amazing page to look for resources. So, at the beginning I mentioned that some grammarians don't think that articles belong inside the parts of speech. But here we have some rules regarding the usage of the. Number one, to refer to something which has already been mentioned. John has a new car. The car was gifted to him by his father. So I already mentioned the new car. I don't have to say again, the new car. No, the car. We know we're talking about this one. Number two, when there's just one thing in that place. My house is close to the church. Only one church. Where's the washroom? There's normally one in the house. The phone is behind the TV. There's only one phone. There's only one TV. Now, we may use it in sentences or clauses where you define or identify a particular person or object. I live in a house with a brown roof. He's the lawyer I came to see. It's not any lawyer. It's the lawyer I came to see. You identify a particular person. Use the to refer to people or objects that are unique. The sun is shining brightly today. The president will be coming to St. Petersburg. Yes, there's a lot of presidents, but in this case, you're talking about a specific, unique person. Before superlatives and ordinal numbers, you might remember this one, but maybe you were not aware it's like a rule. This is the highest building in Moscow. He finished reading the last chapter. I met John for the third time. Rule number 6, to refer to a whole group of people, which comes from an adjective. The French enjoy cheese. John always helps the poor. Of course, I'm emphasizing the in these sentences. With decades, he was born in the 80s. This is a painting from the 1920s. Before nouns, which describe a general type of thing, children have to face many challenges when they live away from the family. Most of the promotions were carried out over the telephone. And we also use it before abstract nouns, which describe a situation, a quality, a process, or a change. The problem of obesity has become a global issue. The distribution of food is uneven in many countries. Those are the 9 rules for the article the. Now, for verb, they deserve a whole class because there's too much stuff to talk about them. We will talk about them next Monday, 9 a.m. Venezuelan time during our first class. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did as I told you when pausing the video and taking notes. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.